At the campground, yeah. Labor Day weekends, there was a family here that would have a fish boil. They would bring in fish and boil it, and everybody took picnic meals up to their corner of the campground, and we'd have a nice big picnic and have fish and everything up. Yeah, Tom Madden and his wife and the others all joined in. No, it was nice. And, that was one of the things. And then one year we had a pig, another camper over here, Jackson's. They roasted a pig, and then everybody brought food, and we had a pig roast. Couple of years we had that.
Yeah.
You know, all the families would get together. But otherwise it was people coming and going. And
they caught a lot of fish, right?
Yeah, they caught quite a lot of fish out here.
What kind of fish were they catching?
Bluegills and stuff. I think the
Catfish.
Maddens that time maybe bought filleted fish for that fish fry. You know, I don't remember. And then they'd have sweet corn and on the cob cooked to go with it. And we'd bring everything imaginable. One year it rained, it was so muddy. They put up a sort of a makeshift tent so we could have our table under that. The picnic went on anyway. And then sometimes we had a family here that there was an accordion player, and remember Pat Sparling? She was taking accordion lessons at the time. She was probably about 12, 15. She'd come out in the evening, and between her playing her accordion and the son, this camper, this older guy that had an accordion, you know, the people were dancing out here on the grass. That was kind of fun. One Saturday night at least, or a couple Saturday nights in the summer.
A lot of times they get
So
a pony of beer that's like a 5-gallon keg of beer, you know, and
oh yeah, they
drink
had
it.
beer to go with it, I guess, and that stuff.
They come up on
That wasn't so good.
a Friday afternoon, and Dozier and what the heck was the other guy's name? They each had boats, and they went out and they were racing, you know, and they got down in that first bay around and made a big turn and a couple of turns, and Dozier, he had his boat, and one of the waves, he was crisscrossing one of the waves sideways, and he threw him out of the boat, and he hung on, and the motor was still going, you know, and he kept sliding back on the side and sliding back until his doggone legs got under the prop, and he cut his whole knee cap off, you know, and the boat of them, they come in then.
He had trouble with his legs after that. I wonder if that had something to do with it.
Yeah, well, his kneecap was taken right off. Anyway,
not a young man, I don't know.
Anyway, they both of them come in on the pier, and I was down there, and he says, Dozier got hurt real bad, he says. He got thrown out of the boat, and he started climbing up on the pier, you know, and his pants was ripped open from putting it from the ankle on up, you know, and his knee was showing him. And he says, boy, he says, I sure hurt on my leg, you know, and I looked at the kneecap was just knocked loose, you know. And I says to him, you know, he says, you're in bad shape. He says, you better get right to the doctor, I says, because he wasn't bleeding, but it was all like wrinkled up, you know, and he'd been in the water for quite a while. And I says to him, you got to get to the doctor and get it taken care of. Well, he went up to the hospital, and they kept him up there for overnight. And next morning he came down, he was all bandaged up. It took a long time for that to heal up. He limped after that.
Out with tent camping mostly. And then they'd come once in the summer and maybe get rained out or something. Next year when they came, they'd have a little camper, you know, and want to put that in instead of a tent, because that was a little more permanent. And then eventually there were people that rent lots and bring in a bigger trailer, and it kind of grew like that until after a while it was mostly trailers, and a lot of them were getting fairly big. And we went from just a few people to, like, how many lots? 70 some? spaces, something like that. And over a 35-year period, and
He had 72 lots that had water, sewer, and electric hookup at
so it
that time.
kept it busy, kept us all
Yeah.
busy, really. And then we built the house here after, we've been in Merrimack for 26 years, and then we built the house and moved out here because it was closer to the campground. It was handier because we had to run back and forth. We had a little office building down there where we took in people, and then later it got so it was easier to have them just come up the house, and I took them in the basement instead of in that little office building. And after we moved out here, that was so. He started in 1977 in July, and we moved in it in 1979 April or February 19th. About 2.5 years. Well, not
Helped
quite-
out all while
not
we were
quite
taking
two.
care of the campground.
Yeah. And the kids, we all
Double
kind
duty.
of helped to paint windows and stuff that we could help that way. He did most all the work himself, except he got somebody to come in and do this, putting on plaster, decorating. And so it's been a long time already, 32 years ago.